When it comes to Namco fighting games, I've always been a giant fan, and while I've kind of in my videos I've been ragging a lot on Tekken 7. Well, that's because I have a lot to rag on when it comes to Tekken 7. I really don't feel like the game was up to snuff. I really don't feel like the game had nearly as many features as it should have had. And every time I hear an update about it, I do reinstall it just to see. I feel like I wasted so much time and deleting space just to have the game back and just for me to not play it again, all over again. There's really nothing to do in the game outside of the multiplayer. And to me, it's like this is the same sad state that Street Fighter V came out in. And a lot of the reason why people were mad about Street Fighter V was because of the horrible launch date. But for some reason, when it comes to Tekken 7, people kind of gave it a big pass. And I think it's just because the multiplayer and gameplay was so solid. But in my opinion, Street Fighter V was also solid. And if you want to know my real opinion, both games are a letdown. Both games are a shame. I don't know why we favor Tekken 7 over Street Fighter V when you look at whenever I watch competitions, I have more fun watching pro players playing Street Fighter V than I do Tekken 7. However, I think Tekken is one of those are really fun games to play, really fun games to play against other humans. And I think Tekken 7 is one of the worst ones as far as gameplay goes as well. It fixes some crucial problems that have been around since Tekken 6, don't get me wrong. And those problems that, went on to Tekken Tag 2. I still think Tekken Tag 2 is probably my favorite game overall. I'd rather deal with some of those hiccups in gameplay, uh, you know, and play Tekken Tag 2. I don't want to get too far into it, but basically, when it comes to Namco games, what do I like more between Tekken and Soul Calibur? And I mean, it's hard for me to really say Soul Calibur because when it comes to Tekken, I love the characters so much. I love the characters so much in Tekken. I love the fighting style. I love the story. I love the intense gameplay. I love the soundtracks, especially Tekken 4 and 3 has some fucking amazing. I love those games so much. Tekken 5, a fantastic game. And when I play Tekken 7, all I can think to myself is I'd rather be playing either Tekken 3 or Tekken 5. And it really sucks because it seems like they always do something weird with the even number games and do something really good with the odd number games. And Tekken 7 was more like another misstep in my opinion, but at least as far as gameplay goes, people seem to like it. And the fact that it has some cool crossovers is a promising and cool sign of things to come because Soul Calibur is the game that always has crossovers, not Tekken. Tekken never has crossovers. In fact, in Soul Calibur 2 on PS2, which was the first Soul Calibur game I played, it featured Heihachi Mishima from Tekken. And having Heihachi in Soul Calibur actually made me appreciate playing as Heihachi a lot more in Tekken, and I actually learned a lot of the combos a lot better. Now he plays a lot simpler in Soul Calibur because they made his attacks are based around horizontal and vertical instead of having two punches and two kicks. But I ended up learning how to do those attacks, those same combos. Well, more or less in Tekken. I learned more about the way Tekken works, where if you press two punch buttons at the same time, they'll do like a double-handed attack and or like a double kick attack or something like that. So I definitely learned a lot about Tekken and Heihachi, and that's partly thanks to Soul Calibur, which Soul Calibur usually features Yoshimitsu as a playable character every time as well. And that's one of the cool things about those Namco games, that Yoshimitsu's in both of them every time. And it kind of keeps them in the same canon universe, even though that in Soul Calibur it's like, that's based so much earlier before. Of course, no one really talks about the PS2 version. I grew up with the PS2 version of Soul Calibur 2, and because of that, I really got more invested in the characters and not so much in Link, which is what everyone else is invested in with Soul Calibur 2. Now, I own Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube now, and I've actually beaten the shit out of it, and I use Link for the most part just because I wanted to. Just because I never played Soul Calibur 2 with Link. It felt like it was a weird cheat code or a weird mod or something. That is definitely the most favored and beloved version of Soul Calibur. And it's weird to think that it was on a Nintendo console, but when you have a game on a Nintendo console, you get those Nintendo characters, and that's where you get Link, mostly based off Ocarina of Time, but with some inspiration from some of the other games, like Link to the Past, was definitely involved in the characters' attack abilities. And it seemed like the colors were straight out of Super Smash Bros. I know that his tunics were based on tunics from the actual Ocarina of Time game, is in the red tunic and the blue tunic, but that like light pink tunic that is for some reason that's in Melee and Smash 64. I don't know why. Maybe it's supposed to be a reference to the blue tunic in the original Legend of Zelda, where it was like that ice blue color, but it's like the light pink tunic. I don't get it. But either way, yeah, Link was in Soul Calibur 2 and everyone loved it. But Soul Calibur 3 didn't have a crossover character, but instead it had created characters, and that opened up this whole new can of worms. And Soul Calibur 3 was the one that I rented. I remember being like, it's not really as good as Soul Calibur 2 because I wanted to play the Conquest mode. The Conquest mode where you go through like get all the different weapons and everything. Unlocking all the different weapons and everything was definitely what I really loved about Soul Calibur. And Soul Calibur 4 was definitely a step in the right direction, and I really enjoyed that game. And probably as I'm staring at a figure I have of Darth Vader as I speak, Soul Calibur 4 was great because it had this great promotional crossover with LucasArts games where it featured the Jedi Apprentice in both the Xbox and PS3 versions of the game. And it also included, depending on which version of the game you got Darth Vader or Yoda. So a lot of people probably got Yoda for the 360 version, but I specifically bought the game on PS3 just so I could have Darth Vader. That's literally all I cared about. And I don't have it anymore, sadly. I wish I still had it because I sold it before the Yoda DLC came out. And I would have loved to have Yoda versus Vader, which a lot of people did eventually anyway. And I think that was a cool way to do it because to me, I never understood why Heihachi and Spawn had to be exclusive to PS2 and Xbox. I was always like, man, it'd be cool if I could do Heihachi vs. Spawn. I understood why Link was only in the GameCube version, but honestly, I don't see why the GameCube version can have an extra super secret special character. I think that's perfectly fine. Just, why not? Let them have it. Let them have this one. Give them Link. Don't put Link in the other versions. That's never going to happen. But, I always really wanted a sequel to Soul Calibur 2, or like a Soul Calibur 2 remix or something, where it was like, I know I'm saying 2, not to 3, because I wanted a new version that included like Marth in the GameCube version and had like Cloud in the PS2 version, and we've all been saying that for a while now, like, ooh, I wonder what Soul Calibur 6 is going to have. Will Soul Calibur 6 have, will they finally put Cloud in? Will they finally put, maybe they'll put Noctis in, except for he was in Tekken now. Maybe, who are they going to put in? And, we figured out who it was, and it was my number one first top pick. The first idea that ever came to my mind was like, well, put Geralt in from Witcher 3, because Witcher 3 was such a phenomenal game that last year, and like Geralt deserves it more than anyone right now. And considering that we've already had a character from Assassin's Creed and a character from, like, we've had Link before, like, let's do this, like, let's. And the Star Wars crossover thing was fucking brilliant. It was amazing. It was so cool to have Star Wars in Soul Calibur. It was a great idea. But and honestly, I can't believe like there was Star Wars is in Soul Calibur, and like all these like fucking really scantily clad women are in it, and like they're all anime characters with it's ridiculous, But Soul Calibur 4 had Star Wars and it was awesome. Soul Calibur 5 had a terrible story mode with like no real arcade mode ending, so the arcade mode was really bad. There's almost nothing to do in it, but the character customization took what 4 did and like fucking cranked it up to 11. The character customization was so much better in Soul Calibur 5 that I was able to make versions of Cloud and Sephiroth that looked I fucking like exactly like how they should. Like Cloud, I was able to get Cloud's hair right thanks to like putting on these like shaped they leave you like horns and like shapes and like cones and stuff that you can put anywhere and adjust anywhere on someone's body. And I was able to make like really realistic looking Clouds with Cloud's hair and everything. And it was fucking awesome. And so like, and then of course, you give him the suit with the big sword. You give him, you just pick the character that fits like them the most. Like Sephiroth with Mitsurugi. I made Batman, and I just made him Taki's fighting style. It's not Taki, it was the new girl, but Taki's coming back. So that's what's important. I can't believe they ever changed the characters in the first place. And stuff like that, I was able to put in Sailor Moon in the game. I put in Madoka from Madoka Magica in the game because I was really into that anime at the time when Soul Calibur 5 just happened. I put in Ryoko and Satsuki from Kill la Kill. because that show was like pretty new at the time, and it literally again like thanks to like the stickers and like abilities to like put anything on anywhere in the body, I was really able to make really realistically good looking versions of these characters, like very passable versions that I really enjoyed. I made like Ryoko have Yoshimitsu's fight style, so because she had fought like Yoshimitsu, she was super like unorthodox, like super just out of nowhere and crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's how I want Ryoko to fight. Like she has to fight like a crazy swordsman because that's how she fights in the show. Where Satsuki, I can make her fight more like someone who can use a blade. You know, I like made the Green Ranger made with like Cervantes, so um he had like two swords, and like one was like based off the dagger because you can like color the swords as well, and the other one was like his evil white sword or something like that. Like we made so many. Oh yeah, and they let you have Devil Jin. They put Devil Jin as a custom character, so you couldn't play as Jin or any Tekken character. But for the custom characters, they put Devil Jin in as a style, and he fights literally identical to Jin, and it was so cool. Like Devil Jin's just in the fucking game. He's just in Soul Calibur 5. But instead of trying to recreate Devil Jin, I made Superman. That way, I could have Batman fight as a ninja like Taki, and I had Robin who fought like Killick, and then I had, so then I had like Batman, Robin, Superman. I made the Joker. He fought with like a knife. I think I made him Voldo. So he fought with all these blades and he was like doing these crazy dances. And it looked so cool. Like everything looked perfectly and cool. So, you know, my favorite thing about these games is the custom characters, and they do it so much better than Tekken. Like they even let you customize the regular characters' looks and style really, really well. You do basically whatever you want with them. If you want to just put a character in their underwear and send them out there, you can do that. But you could also put characters in like really cool designed armor that makes them really shine and look awesome. So that's literally my favorite thing about Soul Calibur. And now, as I'm staring at one of my wallpapers on my computer, that's 2B from Nier Automata. I cannot wait to put 2B in Soul Calibur. I can't wait to put. Though, from what I understand, there's going to be DLC, so Geralt might not be the only character that they put in. They might put in other characters besides Geralt. So for all I know, 2B could actually be a DLC character. But for right now, I'm probably going to put like 2B in the game. I'm probably going to put in, again, probably a lot of the same characters I put in the last one. I put Link in, I put Finn and Jake in because they let you have there's this guy who has like a wolf spirit. It's like a stand from goddamn JoJo or something, and it's like a wolf. And I just like colored him yellow, and I made a guy that looked like a muscular version of Finn. So it's Finn and Jake, and I put Link in the game. I did a bunch of stuff like that. So like, I'm gonna make whatever characters I feel like making and have a good time with it. I am excited for the DLC. There could be a lot of cool characters. Ooh, man, Fate characters are kind of complicated, but putting in a character from like the Fate franchise could also be really badass. That's the thing. You can usually make some really cool looking anime characters as well. So that's literally my favorite thing about Soul Calibur, and then you can use those custom creations online. Sometimes the game is mostly balanced because the move sets are preset, and I know some people might want like full control, but really having preset move sets helps a lot. Definitely keeps the game really balanced. So the online won't be too wonky and janky. So so the story mode is also looking a lot better than Soul Calibur 5 story mode. So I do have a lot of faith in Soul Calibur 6 not sucking. And from watching the beta gameplay, at least the gameplay, the fighting mechanics itself look really solid. So I am excited for this game. I wish it came out Tuesday instead of Friday. Why do I have to wait till damn Friday? What is it, a Nintendo game? It's not even coming out on the Switch. Oh well. I am excited for Soul Calibur. Just for the dumbest reasons, but I don't even care. So here's to that. Here's to Soul Calibur.